Welcome back to Bull and Thread. Let's talk about another cognitive bias today, the illusory truth effect. Now, an illusory truth effect is something that we have all experienced, and it's actually the reality of modern social media and getting content from so many different sources. And here's the concept. It happens whenever repeating false or misleading information makes it feel like it's more true. Our brains sometimes have a way of believing something because it's been repeated to it. So we confuse familiarity with actual truth. And we hear it over and over and over and over again. And because it's being spoken so many times and from multiple sources within a given domain, we assume that it's true. But that's a logical fallacy. Repeating something over and over again from 10 different places and 10 different sources doesn't make something true. It could make it propaganda. It could make it convincing to people. It could cause you to assume that it's true, but it's not. And that's the illusory truth effect. We want to be careful, and we want to try to inoculate ourselves from it. So how do we do that in this modern information-rich world as we're trying to make wise decisions and as we're seeking those metaphorical and literal treasures? Well, I have 5 tips for you. I've jotted down like I do in many of my videos. So let's go ahead and walk through them together and see what it might do for us. The first one is simple but important. Pause before you believe something. Just because you've heard something many times doesn't make it true. So when you hear something, teach yourself to not just sort of accept it because it feels familiar, because you've heard it over and over again and you just kind of assume it. Even if it's coming from people you like, people you trust, people you know, take some time to just pause and think about it for a moment before you just kind of adopt it and embrace it. I remember one time sitting down with a person, and it was a person that was like in his 40s, and we were having a meal together, and he identified with a particular ideological political group. And I remember literally we were talking about something, and he said, just right out loud, "So what do we believe about this?" I mean, he was literally trying to make his decision based upon his identity group. And it wasn't a religious group or anything like that. It was kind of a broader sort of group in society and all. And he really wanted to know, kind of tell me what to believe. And so there's sometimes a desire to do that. I just want to believe it because other people said it. And that happens with this when you're in these different kinds of groups and things get repeated over and over again. It makes it feel like it's more true just because it's more familiar. So pause before belief. Second one is trace the source. When you're hearing a claim, I don't care how many times it's been repeated, see if you can't find out where is it actually coming from. What's the origin of the claim? And sometimes that takes some work. It's hard, and you might have to test sources multiple times because honestly, even trying to find the source of something that's repeated can be a repeated deception. So people keep claiming it came from here, it came from here, it came from here. And so you come to believe that it must have come from that place. But if you actually take the time to look it up and look around and you test different sources, you find that maybe it's not as clear as it seems. Trace the source. The third one is watch for emotional refrains. They're catchphrases. There can be different slogans that people are use. There can be things that try to use like an emotional appeal to drive you to believe something that's being repeated over and over and over again. And while an emotional refrain doesn't make something false, it doesn't make it true either. So watch for those things that are trying to drive you to believe something because of an emotional appeal. The fourth one is you want to be careful about and acknowledge your echo chambers and see if you can't get yourself beyond them. So you're going to hear certain repetition in certain echo chambers and communities and groups, and they're going to say things and they're going to repeat it over and over and over and over again, and it's going to lead you to believe that that's how the whole world sort of approaches it or thinks about it. So you have to step out of that and actually allow yourself to honestly listen and seek understanding and understand some other ways that people are thinking about and talking about something, and that can get you at least a step in the right direction to avoid this illusory truth effect. Then we get to the last one, which is to build a fact-checking habit. And we're overwhelmed with so much information, we get so much content, and it's okay for you to say, I don't know, instead of saying it's true or it's false. Some things we just haven't gotten to, and it's okay to say that when there are these different claims that are going on. I'll find, actually, though, that when I say I don't know, some people get mad at me because I'm not getting on the bandwagon. Maybe it's an area of something they really believe in, and they'll make a statement, and I'll say, well, I haven't taken the time to really do the fact checking or to dig in and to understand it for myself, so I'm just going to postpone judgment right now. And they can get very angry and say, how could you ignore it? It's all over the place. It's in this place, and this place, and this place, and everyone's been talking about it. How could you possibly ignore it? Well, the reality is we've got a lot going on in our lives, and sometimes we just haven't dug into it and we haven't taken the time. And it's okay to say, I don't know about something until you're able to take the time and dig in and look into it. It's okay to hold on to some things tentatively, and other things that are really important to you in your life, sort of your core beliefs and values. Obviously, I hope that we take a little bit more time to think about that, so when people ask us, we can speak a little bit more confidently. When you have these kinds of truth claims and other things like that that are coming at us, it's really valuable to build a habit of fact checking. Ask questions. Learn to ask 2, 3, 4, 5 questions when someone makes a claim, and try to do it in a way that's not trying to win an argument. You're not trying to combat someone. You're not trying to be inflammatory. You're genuinely trying to understand. And when you do that, it can sometimes disarm people enough to have just an honest conversation with you. And maybe they'll discover that they were a little bit overly confident about a claim, and maybe it's worth looking into a bit more. This kind of thing happens even in actual literal treasure hunts. If you look at the John Collins Black There's Treasure Inside treasure hunt that's happening right now, you'll see people that seem to kind of repeat over and over again what something must mean in the book, in the clues. And it gets talked about so much that everyone just kind of assumes that that's true when it may not be in the first place. It may not be. And everyone is leading one another down the wrong path. There's a statement that I don't know who said it originally, but it actually sticks with me. And it's the majority is always wrong. And now I don't believe that that is an absolute truth. But sometimes it's a hopeful proverb. It's a hopeful slogan for me to say, so that I don't fall into the trap of just believing something because the majority claims that it's right or it's true. That I have to do some of my own digging, my own work, my own thinking. I have to spend some time with it, and it's okay to do that. I hope you find this useful. I look forward to your comments.